If you believe gold and silver will automatically make you rich in the next crisis, this video could save you from becoming one of the 99.9% who lose everything. Because what you're about to hear is the exact opposite of what the crowd believes, and history proves the crowd is almost always wrong. They say gold is safety. They say silver is protection. They say when the system collapses, precious metals will rise and save everyone. That story feels comforting. It feels logical. It feels like a secret shortcut to wealth. But the truth is darker. In every major financial cycle, most people didn't lose money because they chose the wrong asset. They lost because they chose the right asset at the wrong time, for the wrong reason, with the wrong mindset. And today, gold and silver are becoming the most dangerous crowded trade in the world, not because they can't rise, but because 99.9% of people don't understand how money really moves. They think owning metal is enough. They think price alone creates safety. They think fear equals opportunity. But fear is what destroys late investors. This is not a story about metals. This is a story about cycles, psychology, and survival. And if you truly understand it, you will never look at gold, silver, or your own money the same way again. There is a pattern that repeats through history. Every empire, every currency, every market. First, people trust the system. Then debt grows quietly. Then money is created faster than value. Then the rich move first. Then the crowd rushes in late. And finally, everything resets. When confidence dies, people run to what feels safe. Gold, silver, hard assets. But by the time the masses arrive, the easy gains are already gone. What remains is volatility, traps, and emotional decisions. The crowd believes metals are a shield. The system uses that belief as a transfer mechanism. Money does not disappear, it changes hands. The cycle is simple. Early thinkers position quietly. Institutions accumulate when nobody cares. Prices rise slowly. Media wakes up. Fear spreads. Retail floods in. Prices spike. Then reality hits, and the late buyers become liquidity for the early movers. This is the hidden truth. The market does not reward beliefs. It rewards timing, structure, and behavior. And right now, belief in gold and silver has reached dangerous levels. Most people are failing because they are not investors. They are emotional followers. They chase stories. They chase headlines. They chase confirmation. They buy when they feel safe. They sell when they feel pain. They confuse price going up with value being created. When gold rises, they feel smart. When silver surges, they feel chosen. They think, this is it. This is my moment. But markets don't care about your moment. They care about positioning. When everyone believes the same thing, the risk is already maximum. In every crash, people said, this time is different. This asset can't fail. This is protection. But no asset is safe in the hands of the wrong mindset. Because the real danger is not price falling. It is being forced to sell at the worst possible moment. That is how wealth transfers, not through collapse, through pressure, when your job is unstable, when inflation eats your savings, when fear controls your thinking. You sell when you shouldn't. You hold when you shouldn't. You freeze when you should act. That is how 99.9% get wiped out, not by the market, but by themselves. Smart money does not ask, what will go up? They ask, where is the system pushing people emotionally? They don't chase returns. They build resilience. They understand cycles. They know when money is cheap, risk is hidden. When money is tight, fear is visible. When everyone wants safety, safety is already priced in. They don't worship assets. They respect structure. They diversify across systems, not just markets. They think in cause and effect. If debt explodes, currency weakens. If currency weakens, assets inflate. If assets inflate, inequality grows. If inequality grows, social tension rises. If tension rises, policy changes. If policy changes, markets reset. They don't guess, they observe. And when everyone is shouting, buy protection, they quietly ask, what happens after everyone is protected? History shows us everything. In the 1970s, gold exploded as inflation surged. Late buyers thought it would rise forever. Then real interest rates changed. Gold fell for 20 years. In 2008, fear pushed people into metals. Prices rose. Then liquidity vanished. Everything sold off together. In 2020, money printing created another surge. Again, people believed metals were the answer. But the real winners were those who understood the system, not just the asset. The pattern is always the same. The crowd arrives when the story is loud. The professionals arrive when the story is silent. One investor bought gold quietly during currency panic. He sold into the media frenzy, not because he stopped believing, but because he understood positioning. Another went all in at the top, held through the collapse, sold in despair, swore to never invest again. Same asset, opposite outcomes. The difference wasn't gold, it was thinking. Here is the strategy anyone can apply. Stop thinking about what is safe. Start thinking about how the system is shifting. Ask, where is fear building? Where is greed peaking? Who is early? Who is late? Don't bet your future on one story. Hold assets that respond differently to different environments. Understand why you own something, not just what you own. Build flexibility, not faith. And most importantly, don't confuse protection with profit. Gold and silver are tools, not saviors. The real edge is awareness. The real protection is adaptability. The real wealth is built by those who see the cycle before it becomes obvious. The greatest risk is not losing money. It is thinking you are safe when you are not. The world is changing faster than ever. Currencies are being tested. Trust is weakening. Systems are shifting. This is not a time to follow crowds. It is a time to think differently, because in every cycle, the few who understand the system rise, and the many who cling to stories fall. Decide today which side of history you will be on, not as a believer, but as a thinker, because the next cycle will not reward hope. It will reward clarity, and that clarity begins now. The people who survive every reset don't look for comfort. They look for truth. And the truth is this: we are not in a normal market. We are in a transition of systems. Old rules are breaking. Old guarantees are failing. Old ideas of safety are dissolving. This is not about metals. This is not about stocks. This is not about crypto. It is about how money itself is changing. Every generation faces a moment when the game board is flipped, when what worked for decades suddenly stops working. Those who adapt early become the new elite. Those who cling to the past become invisible. Right now, the world is quietly choosing who will rise and who will fall. And most people don't even realize the decision is already happening. They are distracted by price charts. They are hypnotized by headlines. They are comforted by old beliefs. But money flows where awareness goes. When fear rises, smart money does not panic. It repositions. When the crowd rushes toward one door, smart money quietly looks for the exits no one sees yet. Because wealth is not built by running faster. It is built by seeing earlier. The people who win don't wait for certainty. They prepare for probability. They don't ask, what if I'm wrong? They ask, what if everyone else is wrong? And most of the time, they are. This is why 99.9% will be wiped out. Not by markets, by mindset. They will chase safety when safety is already expensive. They will chase returns when risk is already highest. They will follow confidence when confidence is already fragile. They will buy when hope is loud. They will sell when fear is unbearable. And in doing so, they will give their future to those who understood the cycle. But you are still here. That means you still have a choice. You can follow the noise, or you can follow the pattern. You can believe the story, or you can study the system. You can wait for permission, or you can take responsibility. This moment is not a threat. It is an invitation to stop thinking like the crowd, to stop reacting to fear, to stop outsourcing your future, and to start building a mindset that survives any cycle. Because in the end, it is not gold that protects you. It is not silver that saves you. It is not any asset at all. It is your ability to understand change and move before the world forces you to. The next cycle is coming. The only question is, will you be ready, or will you be part of the reset? From this moment on, think differently. Your future depends on it. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing the rules you trusted no longer exist. Your savings don't feel safe. Your job doesn't feel permanent. Your future doesn't feel predictable, not because you failed, but because the system quietly changed. That is how every great financial reset begins, not with explosions, not with headlines, but with slow erosion, small changes in interest rates, silent currency debasement, invisible debt growth. And then suddenly nothing feels stable anymore. This is the moment most people freeze. They search for something solid, something timeless, something that feels real. That's when they find gold. That's when they find silver, and they believe they have escaped the storm. But what they don't realize is that the storm follows behavior, not assets. The same fear that drives people into metals is the same fear that will force them out at the worst time. Because when pressure rises, humans don't act rationally. They act emotionally. They don't sell because it's smart. They sell because they're scared. They don't buy because it's cheap. They buy because they feel left behind. And this emotional cycle is older than money itself. Empires have risen and fallen on it. Currencies have collapsed under it. Families have lost generations of wealth because of it. But a small group always survives, not because they are smarter, because they are calmer. They understand that the system is not broken. It is doing exactly what it has always done, transferring wealth from those who react to those who prepare. This is why you cannot think like the majority anymore, because the majority is standing on the edge of the same cliff, arguing about which direction is safe, while the few are already building bridges behind them. This is not fear, this is clarity. And once you see the pattern, you can never unsee it. From today forward, do not ask, what should I buy? Ask, what cycle am I in, and who benefits from my fear? That question alone will change your financial life forever. Because when you stop chasing protection and start understanding the system, you stop being part of the 99.9%. You become part of the few, and that is the real final warning. One day, years from now, you will look back at this moment and you will realize this was the fork in the road. Not the day the market crashed, not the day gold spiked, not the day silver collapsed, but the day you changed how you think. Because real wealth is not built on prediction, it is built on preparation. You don't need to be perfect, you don't need to be early. You only need to stop being last. The crowd will always arrive too late, pay too much, and leave too early. That is not bad luck. That is the cost of emotional thinking. But you are no longer blind to the pattern. You see how fear is manufactured. You see how stories are sold. You see how cycles repeat. And now you have a choice. Repeat history or rise above it. This world will continue to shake. Currencies will wobble. Markets will swing. Assets will rise and fall. but those who understand the system don't fear volatility. They use it. They know that chaos is not danger. Chaos is opportunity for those who are ready. So don't wait for certainty. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for someone to tell you it's safe, because by then, the opportunity will already belong to someone else. This is not the end of a video. It is the beginning of a new way of thinking. From today forward, you are not a follower of markets. You are a student of cycles. You are not chasing safety. You are building resilience. You are not hoping for the future. You are preparing for it. And that is how you survive every reset. That is how you escape the 99.9%. That is how you win. History does not remember the crowd. It remembers the few who saw the storm before the clouds formed. They were not louder. They were not richer. They were not more confident. They were more aware. They noticed when the tone of the world changed, when easy money turned into silent pressure, when comfort turned into complacency. They did not panic. They repositioned, because they knew something most people never learn. The system does not break, it evolves. And every evolution creates winners and losers. The losers cling to what used to work. The winners adapt to what is coming. That is the line between survival and regret. So when you hear everyone saying, this is safe, this is guaranteed, and this can't fail, pause. Because those words have marked every bubble, every collapse, every transfer of wealth in history. Let this be the moment you step back from the noise. Let this be the moment you stop consuming fear and start creating clarity. You don't need secret information. You need disciplined thinking. You don't need perfect timing. You need emotional control. You don't need luck. You need perspective. From this point on, you are no longer watching the cycle. You are inside it consciously. And when the next wave hits, you won't be standing where everyone else is standing. You'll already be moving. That is the difference. That is the edge. That is the future you just chose.